there. Welcome to Fantasy for the Ages, the podcast where father and son talk about fantasy and sci-fi literature and all other sorts of things like that that happen to entertain us at the moment and that we hope will also entertain you. Today, it's turned out to be a Just Jim episode, even though it wasn't supposed to be. So, here's the little deets, the ugly details, the behind the scenes of why you get stuck with me alone today. Although not alone, I am thankful I've got Jordo with me in the Discord. Those of you longtime listeners, Jordo is who's Jordo? Yeah, you're fully familiar with him. If you were even at JordanCon, you've met him in person. So definitely hanging out with us, and I'm sure his input's going to influence this episode. Somebody's got to, since Zach can't do it. Zach actually picked up a case of COVID, and that's a while back now, but then he got some sort of secondary infection illness thing that really has knocked him a loop, unfortunately. Not hospital loop, be clear, but he did actually go into urgent care today and get a whole bunch of antibiotics. His energy is zapped, but he's on the mend. And it was like literally about 15 minutes ago, he said, "Yeah, Dad, man, I just can't go today." So it was a good thing that I decided to switch gears already on what we were going to do this episode, because I didn't have enough time to prep as I had planned. If you were on our Discord, you would have already seen I had intended episode 113, what this is, to be 2 more chapters of The Shadow Rising. But life's been crazy. Things have been busy. I'm not ready. So we decided, oh, nice. Jordo says, shame on you if you're not on Discord. You should have known this. Come join us on Discord. We'd love to have you with us. But The Shadow Rising, great book. Wheel of Time. We'll get back to it. We just need a little more time to prep for the next episode. But what I do want to talk about today is another thing we had ready and waiting in the wings. We're going to talk about season 2 of The Wheel of Time on Amazon Prime. So more about that in a moment. A couple of... Jordan's going to make me laugh this whole episode, just so you know, guys. A couple of details for our show. I want to welcome those of you in Greece. We have new listeners now in the nation of Greece. It's been a few episodes since a new nation dropped into the fan base. We're glad you're here. We see you. And thanks for being a part of the Fantasy for the Ages Fellowship family. Get in touch with us. You know all the ways. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Discord. Drop your comments in YouTube. We love hearing from people. And if we have a chance to interact with you, whether you're in Greece or somewhere else, we'll certainly do so. That's it. I don't have any other details here today other than to share that I'm only drinking water. Now, you know, I usually work up something nice, and I mean, come on, we're talking about Amazon Prime, The Wheel of Time, version 2, season 2. How can I not be drinking a Wattail? Well, there's a little story. I'm going to keep it short. But I don't have my car right now. I have my brother's car. And when this episode's done, I got to take that car, and I got to go pick up my wife and bring her home from work. There's a long, complicated reason for that, but I'm driving my brother's car for the next 3 days. It's a Tesla. Yeah, I'm driving this hot little red electric car, and it has not a ding on it. I must be careful. Thus, I am not even drinking, I'm not even smelling beer if I'm near the Tesla. Yeah, he's put great faith in me. He's my younger brother, 5 years younger, and he's entrusted me with this really sweet loaner. So I'm going to deliver it back to him in as pristine condition as possible. Also, it kind of is different than a regular car. So I need to be fully focused when I'm driving this thing. So maybe I'll drop pictures in later. It's a sweet little ride. Honestly, if I'd bought it, it would be my midlife crisis. It might be my brother's midlife crisis, but it's an expensive midlife crisis, and I'm going to keep it clean and ding-free. All right. Now let's get back on to what we're actually going to talk about today. If I met you at JordanCon this past month, you might have been at the panel that talked about season 2 predictions. I was on that panel and I shared some of what I'm going to give you here today on that panel. But I got more. I got lots of ideas of what we're going to see on the Wheel of Time season 2. And I want to talk about them today. This is an adaptation. And if you're paying attention to this episode on season 2, then you probably watched season 1 of The Wheel of Time. Did you like it? Did you hate it? Were you ambivalent? If you watched it, you have opinions. And especially if you were already a book reader, some of the adaptations, the changes they made, may have been tough for you. I wouldn't say that I'm completely on board and all the changes they made are exactly what I would have done. But that's because I love the book, and man, some things are hard to let go. But when you take things to television, you just can't do it the same way as it was in a book. It's not possible. So they made some intentional, smart choices on how to adapt it. Now, it was a big success. We're moving ahead with season 2. Filming has recently wrapped, so they're just in post-production now for the next few months, and then they'll get ready to drop in 2023. But in the meantime, just what have they covered? What's in the show? General consensus is it covers books 2 and 3. So The Great Hunt and The Dragon Reborn. In some way. How much was in there? I mean, how do you put 2 whole books into 8 episodes on TV? Well, you don't. You change things again. And probably some things are pretty drastically changed. So here's my predictions. I'm interested to see how many I'll be right on. Some of these are fairly tame. Some of these are pretty out there. I want to hear what you think. So when you watch this on YouTube or listen to this on an audio podcast format, be sure to give me your thoughts. Tell me what you agree with. Tell me where you think I'm off my rocker. You know that I don't swear, so please don't swear at me. Be nice, be kind, but feel free to disagree. All right, let's talk about the big one first, because I'm going to talk kind of in order of a lot of these things, but there's one thing we just got to address right off the bat. Moiraine. We see something happen to her in episode 8 of season 1, and there's been some debate and no actual reveal yet of what was done to her. We know she has no access to the one power. Okay. My prediction is she totally was not stilled. She can still channel, but she's shielded right now, and the shield was tied off by Baalsman. Now, why doesn't she realize that? She thinks, at least it looks like she thinks at the end of the season, that she can't channel anymore, and it's traumatic, and now what? And what do I do with my life? Well, my prediction is that in this turning of the wheel, the turning that is the TV show, perhaps they are unaware of the ability to tie a shield off. In the books, they totally knew they could do this. But maybe here they've decided they don't know this because we have not seen anyone tie off a shield yet. In fact, the only shield we've seen is what they were using to shield Logain when they had him captured, and they had to constantly maintain the shield. In fact, he was so strong, there was always 2 of them, 2 Aes Sedai present to maintain the shield. So maybe that's how shields work as far as they knew. But actually with the power, shields can be tied off. It changes how they work a little bit, but it's something that is done. In the TV show, they don't know that yet. So Moiraine had a shield put on her by Baalsman, and it's been tied off. As far as she knows, her connection is gone. We will see in the show she and Lan going on a journey of some sort to find out what's been done and can it be undone and who can help. And my prediction is kind of twofold. One, I'm going to say that she's going to go and, just like in the book, spend some time at the retirement cottage of Adelaus and Van Dien. Now, they could change that. It's not a need to actually have two actresses. We could just combine that into one role. Maybe we make it another well-known Aes Sedai. Jordo drops in the Discord, maybe that's Varen, which is a possibility. Now, I've got Varen coming in somewhere else, but I don't dislike that possibility, that we make that Varen. And we can get Varen back into the story that way. But she goes and she studies with some Brown sisters to figure out what was done to her, and her research will uncover the fact that shields could be tied off, and there is a way to break it with enough try and patience. And Jordo is my what's the word I want for that? Proof checker. That's the word. He's pointing out Van Dien is green. I knew that. Only one of them was brown. You're right. Fact checker. Thank you, Jordo. He's even correcting my understandings of the words I'm trying to say. He's very helpful. Anyways, let's go ahead and say that she finds out in her research what was done to her and how to get out of it. It takes a good chunk of time over the course of the season, and she breaks through it. Okay, the shield is released because she's able to pop it open. Also in her research, she will discern that Rand will eventually need to come for Kalendor in the Stone of Tyr, because there's prophecy that reveals that she pieces together now that he's out there on his own journey. He's gone off who knows where, but she knows he's going to end up in Tyr, so she's going to head that way during the season. Now, in the panel at JordanCon, one of the things alternately that I kind of developed on the fly that I'll throw into this now, wasn't in my original thinking, is that when she's studying there with Varen or Adelaus and Van Dien, she learns about how shields can be tied off and broken through, but she doesn't know how to do it. But her research discerns that there might be someone who does. And she discovers that the Aiel have people with them who can channel. The wise ones. And so she goes on a journey, because, Moraine, top paid actress in the show, they got to do things with her. They go on a journey. She and Lan go on a journey into the waste to find these fabled wise ones. And they are the ones that help her break her shield. But because they come to her, it triggers for them a prophecy that it's time for them to come out of the waste and seek he who comes with the dawn. Possible. And therefore, the Aiel and Moraine will all come to Tyr together, and I'll come back to that. I kind of like that possibility, and it gives a totally different journey there. Jordan notes Rafe is on the record seeing we'll see the Aiel earlier than expected. I'm not saying that we don't see them before Tyr. I'm going to play them in here a little bit different, but let's see. Let's see where we go. Rand is another one. We got to know what happens in season 2. My prediction. Rand is going to spend a lot of this season off the grid. He's doing his own thing. It's not going to connect with the other characters until potentially episode 7. Maybe not even until episode 8. But I think at least episode 7, Rand will connect with some of these characters. Because here's what I see. He's going to go off. He's going to have his own adventures. He's going to learn how to be more capable with the sword. He's going to just make some other discoveries about who he is and what he can do. But he will also run into a woman named Selene. And while out there on his own, he will encounter the damsel in distress, and he will save her. Now, this won't involve any portal stones, nothing like that, but Rand will walk upon this sucker trap that Selene will set for him, and he will be her hero, her rescuer, and she will be from Falme. Because she's from Falme, he agrees to escort her home, which is how we're going to get Rand eventually ending up in Falme. Now, we do have confirmation Falme is in season 2. Absolutely. We don't know what happens there yet, but I've got predictions that'll be coming up. So along the way, we're going to have a number of things that will happen with Rand and Selene. And one of the things that's definitely going to be highlighted, I think, is some sexual tension. He's going to be attracted to her. She's going to want him to be attracted to her. Maybe it will go even beyond just tension. It's possible. It's not network TV. Amazon Prime can do what it wants there. But that'll play into their side adventures in some way. But eventually they end up in Falme, and I'm saying again, either episode 7 or episode 8. No earlier than episode 7. Now let's talk about Perrin. Perrin is the one that was present when Feign in the end of in episode 8 of the last season. Sorry, yeah, thank you, Jordo. He blanked. This is where Zach would have helped me out. In Faldara, Jordo dropped that into Discord. In Faldara, he sees Feign recover the horn and take it. He also saw Feign had a dagger that he's done some damage with. The dagger that Matt had. What? The Shader Logoth dagger? Okay, so we know Feign has that stuff. Perrin is going to follow Feign, along with Loyal, who's not dead, and various Shanarans as they hunt for the horn. Loyal has been stabbed by the Shader Logoth dagger. So he and Perrin have to recover the horn, but also that dagger, because Loyal, why isn't he dead from the dagger? Well, he's an Ogier. Ogier have a robust constitution. They are also so connected to the earth and to healthy things that just who he is as an Ogier is allowing him to resist the damage the dagger would already have been done. Normal person, stabbed, gone. Loyal, Ogier, he's got time. But they need to recover it in order to fully heal him before it does totally wear him out and make Loyal no more. So I think that's what's going to go on there. That's why they will travel together. Jordo drops in the potential that the auto kill option of the dagger is maybe not a thing in the TV show, because he thinks Uno looked like he was stabbed too, but I'd have to go watch the episode again to confirm that. A lot of things could have looked like that's what happened, but maybe they didn't. Maybe it was a different weapon. I don't know. For the purposes of my theory, I'm saying only Loyal was stabbed and survived. Along that journey, Perrin and crew going to Falme, Perrin is going to meet up with Elias Makara, our pastime warder, who then began to talk to wolves, and they will become friends. He will learn a lot about his connection to the wolves this season through Elias. And they will stick with him, Elias and his wolf friends, until they come to a town that has white cloaks. And white cloaks smell bad, so the wolves and Elias make themselves scarce at that point. That's where they part ways. Now, in this town, this one town, I don't have a name for it, but it's going to serve like the one town did in season 1, where a number of plot lines kind of tied together. This one town is going to be an amalgamation. Jordo, you are rocking it. Thank you, sir. An amalgamation of a number of different events that happen along the journey in the Great Hunt. And so, and the Dragon Reborn. A lot of these events all happen in this one town here on the way to Falme. So it's going to be here that Perrin is going to meet Fail, a hunter for the horn. She's going to see him traveling with an Ogier and a group of Shanaran soldiers, and she's going to take an interest. In this same location, Perrin will discover a captive Aiel man, Gaul, and he will free him, necessitating a quick departure because the White Cloaks are the ones that had captured Gaul. And he and Gaul will kill quite a few of them, getting Gaul free. Now, the White Cloaks don't all die. So some of them are aware this guy named Perrin killed a bunch of them, freeing an Aiel. So clearly he's a dark friend, and okay, now we're tying in some various plot points from both the books and combining them here. Gaul goes his own way when he's freed by Perrin. But this is going to be the first time in this quick conversation they have before he scatters that we hear about he who comes with the dawn. That this is a prophecy, and this is why Gaul was over here in this part of the world. Perrin and the gang have to depart quickly because White Cloak's down, some still alive, townsfolk being awokened. Wow, English is hard today, man. But because of that quick departure, Feign comes with, because basically she says, let me come, or I'm going to just raise the alarm and bring them all right after you now. So kind of holds them hostage. I saw everything. You got to let me come, or I'm going to tell on you. So we're not going to necessarily like Feign, but this is how we get Feign. And she's definitely interested in Perrin from day one. Now, Padan Feign. I talked about him already. Just a little bit more. I'm going to say in this show, Padan Feign does make it to Falme ahead of his pursuers. And he finds the Seanchan in power in Falme. And just like in the books, he ingratiates himself into the power and protection of the Seanchan. Although it doesn't go necessarily as he would have preferred, because he does, again, as in the books, lose possession of both the horn and the dagger. Egwene is tricked by Liandrin into going to Falme to help Rand. Now, back up, I kind of skipped something here. The girls, Nynaeve and Egwene, do start out the season in Tar Valon training to be Aes Sedai. But Egwene by herself gets tricked by Liandrin to go help Rand and is sold out to the Seanchan. I will say that they're going to use the ways again, so we'll get a second peek at those. But though they won't spend nearly so much time as was done in the books, traveling. It's just a quick little in and out. Here we are, ta-da! Egwene will be trained as a Damane by the Seanchan, but this does not last for months and months like it did in the books. This is going to be a fairly short period of time that she's a prisoner like that, long enough to be trained in some things she never would have learned in the tower, and to be, Jordo, help me out here, the word when they're pushed faster than they should. Forced, thank you. It's coming through again. He's riding shotgun, guys. Okay, she's trained enough to be forced and to learn things again at an unsafe pace, but because of how things are with the Damane and the whatever gear they're going to have her wear, that weird stuff the Seanchan is, she's somewhat protected from being burned out. So she can go farther and harder and faster than otherwise. Now, Jordo had dropped, what about Elaine and stuff? Okay, I'm going to get back to the other girls. There's stuff that I still need to add in about what happens in the tower. But I'm going to jump first to Min. We've met Min, okay, in Faldara. And we saw her as the battle was about to start, leaving on a wagon, heading away with refugees. In my predictions, Min ends up in Falme, because she's gone as far as she could get from Faldara and that mess. And she doesn't want to go to Tar Valon, because her gift is something that I said I don't understand, and so she wants to stay away from all that. Moraine knew about it, but others don't. So other side of the continent. She ends up in Falme, and the Seanchan are here, but she's just a lady, just, she's not a channeler, so she's doing fine. She's just making her way. However, she meets up with Egwene there, and she had seen Egwene before, so connection is made, and while seeing Egwene as a Damane, they kind of grow a friendship. And she tries to offer Egwene some hope and encouragement, but is also trying to figure out a way to help her get free. Along those lines, Min has made a friend with a sea captain someone who has a ship that might help them escape, a certain Captain Bail Doman. We do have confirmation Bail Doman has been cast. He is in season 2, but we don't know where or how he's going to be used. This is where I say he comes in. Okay, he's going to be there in that little bit of Falme. He's part of Min's escape plan to be used with Egwene. He happens to be stuck in Falme. The Shanshin won't let him go. But if she can work out a way that he can get his ship out, she is welcome to travel with, along with whoever else she'll bring along. She hasn't mentioned she's got a damane she's trying to break free. But men only need to know what they need to know. Now, Matt. How about Matt Coffin? What about him? He was kind of mysterious at the end of the season of what happened with him. My prediction is he will never be in Falme. That is a change that's being made. He is not a part of the hunt for the horn. Instead, what was already done to him in season 1 removed the impact of the dagger from Matt completely. Moraine had, made some mentions that the Reds should get their hands on Matt, that, there's potentially some danger, but she was just talking what she thinks. She didn't know that. And the truth is, Matt's fine. He's free right now. However, he is still ta'veren. And that's going to come into play because he ends up making his way to Tar Valon on his own, and he's hanging out in the low places. He's gambling, he's kissing, he's doing Matt stuff when Nynaeve, who's in Tar Valon training, stumbles upon him. She discovers Matt's hanging out. They didn't know what had happened to Matt, but she knows. She keeps her tabs on him, her eyes on him, and Nynaeve in this season, early in the season, will be tasked by the Amerlin seat to seek out the Black Aja. And that task is going to lead her initially to Cairhien. There are some clues that are going to say, we need to go to Cairhien, and she's going to drag Matt along with her. Partly to keep tabs on him, and partly because he might be handy to have around. She doesn't know what she's going to be getting into. Now, while training in the tower, Nynaeve and Egwene are going to make a friend, Elaine, the daughter heir of Andor. They will meet there. Elaine will already have been there training when they arrive, similar to the books. When the task of going after the Black Aja is assigned, Egwene's already gone. We don't know where Egwene is. It's possible the Black Aja had something to do with it. So, of course, Nynaeve is willing to take up this charge from the Amerlin, because I got to find out what happened to Egwene. And Elaine, who had made friendship with them, tags along. Just kind of inserts herself on the mission. So we've got Matt, we've got Nynaeve, and we've got Elaine following that storyline, and they head to Cairhien. Now, that's their whole goal, Cairhien. Not Tyr. They don't know anything about that. They're following the trail to Cairhien. In Cairhien, they end up attending a party at the manor of Lord Barthanes. Elaine's status as the daughter heir gets them their ticket into this place. They wanted to attend the party because, again, breadcrumbs, Black Aja. It looks like they might have something to do with things going on in Barthanes' manor. They don't know what. They need to get inside. This party will do it. While at the party, they run into an Aes Sedai, Varen of the Brown Aja. And she latches onto them because she claims she knew about their mission. She was here because she knew they had been sent to Cairhien. And she's fascinated to be able to travel with a ta'veren. She knows Matt is a ta'veren. Okay, so Varen's got some inside information. We don't know how she knows it, but she claims to be in the know. They have no reason to question or doubt what an Aes Sedai says when they point blank tell you something. So here we go. Also at the party, they encounter Tom Merrilin, that Gleeman we met in season 1. He's been hired to entertain at Barthanes' party. And while there, Tom and Matt rekindle that connection that started in season 1. Matt also meets at this party Aludra, because Matt's kind of hanging out on the fringes of the party, and out on the fringes, you meet some of the people who aren't the rich and famous. Well, Aludra is an illuminator. She's been hired to set off some fireworks for the evening, and he likes flirting with the women. So Matt just strikes up a random conversation with Aludra. There's a little banter that goes along, a little flirting, nothing serious. However, at this party, then, we've had all these people introduced and met and connected, then things go horribly wrong. And there's an attack of shadow spawn. Trollocs and merge roll everywhere. And this causes a number of things, people running, cats and dogs, all sorts of crazy stuff. But one of the big things that goes off is the fireworks go off early, and there's explosions, and the place is nuts, and people are dying, and run away, run away. That's in the Discord. Again, thank you, Jordo. Our party flees the scene. Tom comes along because you're getting out, I'm getting out. Okay, let's go. Aludra comes along too, latches on. You look like you know what you're doing. I'm coming with you now. As they flee from this party, they follow what the trail now seems to be indicating that, yes, this was all Black Aja related, but they're not here anymore. They've headed for Tyr. So now the party's going to head for Tyr. Aludra will part ways with them sometime after the escape from Kyrien. She'll leave Matt a little gift, kind of a thanks for getting me out of a sticky situation there back in Kyrien. It's a package of fireworks. What could go wrong with that? But so similar to the books, this is how Matt gets his package of fireworks. Matt, Tom, Nynaeve, and Elaine continue on down to Tyr. In Tyr, they begin searching for the Black Aja. They discover too late that they are actually expected in Tyr, that the crumbs that they followed here were intentionally left by Black Aja. It is a trap. However, there's no Forsaken in Tyr. It's purely the Black Aja. They're the ones who are running the show here now. They're the ones in charge. They're bad enough, okay? Nynaeve and Elaine are taken prisoner by the Black, and they're imprisoned in the stone. This leads Tom and Matt to try to free them. Matt plans to scale the stone, and he encounters Aiel on the rooftops, who are also here now due to a prophecy. Matt decides to use his fireworks to create a distraction that will allow him to slip into the stone, and it goes similarly to how it does in the books, which allows Matt and Tom, notice I said nothing about Juilin, or Julin, I know, but come on, he's Juilin to me. He doesn't exist. That one's been cut. Tom's going to totally take on the role that Juilin plays in the book. And they go in through this newly created hole. Oh, by the way, about Tom taking on Juilin, Juilin has a love interest later. We've already made it pretty clear that the Moraine Tom love interest isn't happening. So, ta-da! That's how we'll fill the hole. But that's a future season. So Matt and Tom, they go inside now. They find the Aiel have already made it inside. They and the defenders are battling, which allows our guys to get down and rescue Nynaeve and Elaine, who totally needed it. Not that they appreciate it. Now, jumping back just a little bit, Rand arrived in Falme shortly before Perrin had, but after Egwene. So he's been with the Lady Selene. He's also been having dreams with Baalzamon again. Baalzamon has been taunting him, telling him to meet me in Falme. Come to Falme. I'm waiting in Falme. So arriving here, looking for Baalzamon, he comes upon Min. He discovers through Min that Egwene's been captive. And so he seeks to free her first. Before he can make his move, Perrin and crew stumble upon Rand. So we got all these coming back together here. And they go in on this rescue attempt to free Egwene. Doing so, they also come upon the dagger and the horn. Before they can escape with all of this, though, they are discovered by Lord Turok, who will be in this scene. And that goes rather similar to the books, that Rand and Turok face off. Everybody else ends up scattering, trying to get away. Egwene hangs back a little bit. So she sees what happens here, because as Turok goes down, Baalzamon shows up. He just, excuse me, water time. Baalzamon decides to take advantage of this moment to strike, to step in when Rand is weak, having just fought against Lord Turok. And the battle happens. Now, will this happen up in the sky in some grand way? I'd like to say so, but that's pretty fantastical. And that would be another extra special effect to put in. So I could see them cutting that. They could just leave that out. But maybe they throw it in. What I will say, though, is that whatever Baalzamon does with Rand, it doesn't go well for Baalzamon. Rand starts getting the upper hand there, too. So Baalzamon flees from Falme. He steps right into Teleron Riyadh. Rand, of course, sees him do it and follows, having no idea what he's doing. Egwene, who had hung out, sees what happens and jumps right behind Rand. Okay, she's like, I gotta help. So all three of them go through Teleron Riyadh and end up in the Heart of the Stone in Tyr. That's where Baalzamon flees to. And Rand comes out hot on his tail, as does Egwene. This is going to be episode 8 when this particular event happens, because this is all a big part. There's this thing in Falme, and it's going to flow right into Tyr, and it's going to be an action-packed episode. But the other thing I'll point out here in my predictions is Egwene is able to follow through Teleron Riyadh like this because she has already been identified as a dreamer in her early training in the White Tower, early in season 2. And so she can move through the world of dreams. She's able to make this work. It's part of her ability set, is what they'll play off. Now, Perrin and the rest of the crew, they're trapped in Falme. They're surrounded by Seanchan, trying to find them again while they're still trying to sneak out. And then the Children of the Light, led by Jeffrey Bornhold, attack. Okay, so there's been extra stuff that's happened with the plot that you just get little snippets of. But here they are trying to drive the Seanchan back into the sea. Chaos ensues. Perrin, with nothing else to do, blows the horn. Okay, this is one of my biggest, woo, are you kidding? What? Send your hate mail to fantasyfortheages@gmail.com. I'm going to say they're turning Perrin into the horn blower. It makes sense to me. So the heroes of the horn show up, and they lead the rout of the Seanchan, though most of the White Cloaks die in the battle. Of course, some of the White Cloaks get away, but they saw Perrin there doing something with a horn and things happening of the power, and he must be a dark friend. So piles on is why the White Cloaks will be after Perrin for much of the rest of the series. Back to Tyr. Baalzamon, Rand, and Egwene. Oh, question from Jordo. What's Valda doing? I don't have Valda in my notes. Maybe he's the one who survives, is one of the few that gets away from this disaster in Falme. That could totally work. We don't need a child Bayar. Valda can play that. That'd make a lot of sense. And that would fit well with some of the things that happens later. All right. Baalzamon, Rand, Egwene, all in the Heart of the Stone. When they arrive out of Teleron Riyadh, they're part of this whole pitched battle between Aiel and defenders that's going on right at that moment. Baalzamon went to the Heart of the Stone because Kalendor is there. Now, Rand doesn't even know a thing about Kalendor at this point. Nothing. But Baalzamon, therefore, gets Rand to take Kalendor because here I am. I'm threatening you. Oh, look, there's a magic sword. Rand grabs the sword. And as soon as he's taken possession of it, Baalzamon is fighting him for control of it. Surprise! Moiraine shows up and blindsides Baalzamon because she's got her power back. Again, we got that through a thread that's happened along the way through this season. And last we knew, she was headed to Tyr now with the Wise Ones, the Aiel. So of course, she's here when they're here, and she's in perfect position to step back and bam, sucker punch Baalzamon. He gets totally zapped, fried. He's gone. not balefire, but fried to a crisp. Think Agenor. Okay, so we've got crispiness. We know he's dead, right? That's how it works. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's how it works. Okay, so Moraine comes through in a big way, bails out Rand, who now, holding Kalendor, is the Dragon Reborn. The Aiel, they knew this prophecy. They see him holding Kalendor. They drop to knees and they start, shouting along with the defenders, the Dragon Reborn, the Dragon Reborn. Or maybe they're not. Maybe it's only the Defenders of the Stone saying the Dragon Reborn, because that's the Wetlander prophecy, and the Aiel are going, he who comes with the dawn, he who comes with... I don't know. They got to figure this out. I'm not in the script writing room, okay? One little tidbit left. Season 2 ends with the Lady Selene showing up privately to Rand. Right after this is all done, it's kind of like he's in a room now that's, the rich room for the King of Tyr, and he's just, and suddenly there's the Lady Selene, and Rand's like, whoa, how did you get here? And she transforms in appearance in some way right before our eyes and reveals herself as Lanfear, the chosen Lanfear. And she urges him to learn quickly that others will be coming to challenge him, but that she can count on him, that she'll be around. Okay? She'll be ready to help when he most needs it. And she will help him achieve the glory that rightfully should belong to them both. Moraine will walk in on this, and Lanfear will look right at Moraine and say, watch over him until I return for him again. And then she leaves through some use of the power, and the way we see her do it is our first sighting of traveling, official, formal traveling. That's where the season's going to end. I like that ending. I think that's really good. I think it ties up both these books very nicely. There's one little tidbit in here that I had in my notes, but I blew right past it. I do have to jump back. I said Egwene followed, and then I didn't say anything else about Egwene. She's here in the Heart of the Stone when that stuff goes down and Kalendor is captured and Baalzamon is zapped. Well, she came out of Teleron Riyadh right there. There are wise ones in the Stone of Tyr as well, and they see what Egwene did. She just came out of Teleron Riyadh in the flesh. That's evil. The wise ones are going to take Egwene under their wings and say, you need training. You clearly have the ability to walk within Teleron Riyadh. You must be a dream walker. We know about this. And this is how Egwene gets on her journey to train as a wise one, to become something different than other Aes Sedai. They partly take her under their wing because you will not do that again, woman, as wise ones properly do. But that makes sense. It's a nice, easy way to cut a whole bunch of stuff out of the two books, but get all the key elements in of the storyline. So there you go. You've got my predictions. I am as interested in you. I am probably more interested than you are in seeing which ones are right and which ones are, holy cow, Jim, what were you smoking? Which was nothing because I didn't. But, I would love to hear your thoughts on my predictions. Some of them may drive you absolutely nuts when you think of, well, where does that go from there? Like, Perrin's the hornblower? What? I can defend all my opinions here. I'll go back and forth with you. I also will be completely honest to say I can be completely wrong. I have no inside information. I am not an Amazon shill slipping you secret knowledge. I got none. Pure speculation from what I want to see and what I think they could do that would not completely destroy the story, but could get both books accomplished and set us on a path that still works to take us through the Wheel of Time. So, do you like it? Do you dislike it? Let me know. And that's pretty much what I got. So let me run my outro for us here today. Thanks, Jordo. He doesn't hate it. He didn't say he loved it, but he doesn't hate it. I can work with that. So again, if you want to give some feedback on this episode, you can certainly do it right here if you're watching on YouTube, down there in the response, the replies. But coming on the screen right here, right now, are all those other ways. Come see us on Discord. An invite is it's in the show notes here. It's also always in our Twitter bio. Interact with us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Let us know your comments. Send us an email at fantasyfortheages@gmail.com. If you really like things, find us on Patreon. Support us and be a Jordo. And join us in live recordings. Okay, that's it. We'll talk to you next time.